It is perhaps fitting that I'm appearing via video because I am a television producer, but I would love to be there with you, listening and learning from people whom I admire and respect, bouncing off ideas, being challenged, and toasting the school, a school that means a lot to me. But I'm pre-recording this because, as you watch me, I will be on Italy's Amalfi Coast on a holiday I booked before I was asked to participate here. Frankly, I don't know why the organizing committee asked me to speak. I was not a model student, and documentary producers are not supposed to be model citizens. We're troublemakers. We stir the pot. I suspect it is because I really use my Glendon degree. I majored in Canadian history and have produced many history documentaries. I even wrote a novel that takes place during Confederation. I can also be found most mornings in the pool down at the Proctor Fieldhouse, where I get a discount for being an alumnus. So Glendon has been good to me. As the first speaker, and the only one I notice without a theme, I have great freedom to keep my remarks general, rambling, and I hope provocative. I will ask a lot of questions because I don't have a lot of answers, but I hope I will raise issues that people might consider on this extraordinary day. We are here because this is the political anniversary of Canada, 150 years, and sort of the 50th anniversary of Glendon. We are liberal arts people, so our math could be a bit off. It's appropriate at anniversaries to take stock. We look back 150 years, 100 years, 50 years, and we judge people, their actions, their decisions, their words. Well, what are they going to say about us? About our time, our generation? What mistakes are we making? What injustices are we ignoring? What are we missing? We quite rightly condemn Sir John A. Macdonald for his part in the residential schools policy and the Indian Act. But other prime ministers from both parties continued the practice well into my lifetime and added the injustice of the 60s scoop. Why, when I was here, did we not stand up against this? Now, maybe some of you did. I didn't. So I ask again, who are we letting down? What are we missing? I know that wondering how people will judge us 50 years from now or 150 years from now is a fool's game. Everything changes too quickly. When I was at Glendon, we couldn't imagine a world with the internet. Now we can't imagine life without it. Concerns over pollution were certainly starting, but global warming? I had no idea. As a TV documentary producer, it haunts me that there are stories I should be telling and I'm missing. There are certainly stories I want to tell and can't find the market. American writer E.B. White was perhaps overly idealistic when he wrote, and I quote, "I think television should be the visual counterpoint of the literary essay, should arouse our dreams, satisfy our hunger for beauty, take us on journeys, enable us to participate in events." He went on to say it should clarify the social dilemma. How much of that do you see on Canadian TV? How much history do you see on history television? How much science on Discovery? Bravo stopped airing performance films around the time we started making them. Vision does very little about our spiritual world. TMN airs docs, but prefers celebrity profiles. You'll search far and wide on Netflix to find real Canadian stories. The bright lights are TVO, the documentary channel, which I urge everyone to subscribe to, and of course the CBC. But public broadcasters are under a constant barrage. So I wonder, in the Canadian television landscape, are we living up to E.B. White's goal? Can we? The best I can say is sometimes, and I hope so. Now maybe I'm being too hard on the networks. They are giving the people what they want. TV executives are chasing ratings to keep their jobs, and there is some extraordinary television out there. But a few years ago, I was at a conference in the United States where an American network proudly announced an upcoming show, a cross between America's Biggest Loser and So You Think You Can Dance, called Dance Your Ass Off. one despairs. Well, now that I've attacked my profession, let me turn to my generation. I am a baby boomer. I was brought up on Davy Crockett, Dr. Spock, and Bob Dylan, raised at a time of historic prosperity. We had the greatest music, but no one would ever call us the greatest generation. So if we are taking stock, and I am a troublemaker, let me ask, what should the baby boomer generation be proud of? What should we be ashamed of? There's a recent book called A Generation of Sociopaths, How Baby Boomers Betrayed America, and you could add Canada to the title. The author, Bruce Cameron Gibney, is a Silicon Valley super investor. And his key point, clever, crazy, controversial, is that the boomer generation has exhibited all the traits of clinical sociopathic behavior. He argues that we boomers blew through resources, racked up debt, brought an end to economic growth, ignored infrastructure, and most crucially, enacted policies to benefit our own interests. He claims that we squandered and plundered the society we inherited, selfishly ignoring the consequences for future generations. Sociopathic behavior. But whoa, what about the civil rights movement? Really led by people a little older. LGBTQ rights, led by people a little younger. The women's movement, yes, we made great strides. Glendon has been a shining example of bilingualism and biculturalism, and we should be proud of that. Glendon grads have been on the front lines working for a better society. You'll be hearing from some of them later. But who can deny the overriding selfishness of my generation, the me generation, as Tom Wolfe so aptly labeled us? Our parents built the welfare state. Boomers across North America, by and large, have fought it. Our parents declared a war on poverty. Boomers declared a war on taxes. The exact statistics vary, and it's hard to be precise, but I've read, and I don't doubt, that in Canada, CEO salaries are about 200 times higher than regular workers. In the States, it's more like 300 times higher. In 1965, it was 20 times higher. But again, whoa, my generation has created dizzying change, remarkable progress, an information revolution, and that is undeniable. So, are we sociopaths or extraordinary innovators? Are we failures or achievers? We have certainly sped things up. I turned to making documentaries in part because I'm tired of the speed and superficiality of news. Journalists chasing breaking news, vying to be first. In the 24-hour all-news cycle, too often reporters become like sportscasters at a game, following the puck with no time to contextualize and assess. That seems to me to be true in business as well. Quarterly profit goals, beating the street. That might be good for the bottom line today, but what about long-term planning? And politicians, always running for the upcoming election, feeding the relentless news cycle, spinning wheels, but not going forward. Someone once said a politician thinks of the next election, a statesman thinks of the next generation. Is our legacy going to be subprime mortgages and sound bites, inequality and instant gratification, one-percenters? I want us at this anniversary to think about what people in the future will say about us today, what mistakes we are making, who we are letting down, what we are missing. And by the way, full disclosure, my son wants to buy the television rights to A Generation of Sociopaths. Other generations do love to attack us, and you can tell I really don't blame them. So enjoy the conference, and I will try to slow down, calm my cynicism, and enjoy another glass of Chianti.